Okay, hello everybody. We're going to talk about framing your subject and putting balance in your shots. So, your subject is the primary object of your shot. So, Harry Potter will be our subject for today. He is the primary object that's on our camera shot. That's what we call your subject. Overall, in framing your subject in your camera shot, what we're looking for more than anything is balance. So all the rules we're going to talk about that you're going to stick within in general are helping to provide a balanced look to your shot. So let's talk about what some of those rules are. So we're going to talk about the rule of thirds. So imagine that your screen is divided up into 3/3 here. You're often going to frame up your subject in the left side of your frame or the right side of your frame. Sometimes you'll have them right in the middle, but that's usually only if they're looking straight into your camera and you have a straight on shot of them. Otherwise, the camera shot tends to look imbalanced. So let me show you an example of that. If they're over here looking off to the side, it looks pretty awkward now to put them right in the center because of the space that they're sort of creating with the direction that they're looking. So it looks much more balanced to put him off to the left side. It'll be the same sort of thing for the other side. This is a really nice balanced looking shot. This is not. So very often, most often, your shots will be framed with the subject in the left third or the right third. Next, let's talk about headroom. So headroom is the space above the top of your subject or above their head. What we don't want to do is try and center their head. So yes, their head is the place we're looking at because their eyes are looking at us or they're talking. But what we don't want to do is prioritize centering their head in the middle of our shot here because it creates too much space above their head and it looks imbalanced. So what we want to prioritize is giving them a proper amount of space above their head. So let me show you an example of too much headroom, too little headroom, and just right. So this is just right. This is looking really nice here. Too much headroom is like this. Or even like this, a little too much headroom. We want to get it just right. And then too little headroom is when you start to get really close to touching their head or you're touching their head and you're cutting off Harry's scar. We don't want to do that. So this is good headroom. And your director might ask for more headroom or less headroom, and now you know what that means. Next is the looking room. So looking room we already touched on a little bit. That is the room that you want to give to the direction that your person's looking. So if their looking room should take up most of the shot, which is the direction that they're looking. So yeah, that takes up most of your shot here. If they are over here, it looks cramped. They don't have enough looking room. So we ask for more looking room. We mean put them off to the side more. Give them more space for where they're looking. Okay. So another thing about headroom is that you might get direction from your director that you don't fully understand. And that is usually because they have something on their screen overlaying your shot that you can't see. Either way, you're always going to trust your broadcast director. You're going to go for what they ask. But here's, to help you understand, we often have lyrics covering the very bottom third of the screen. And so we need you to example, if you're framing like a keyboard shot, you know, we don't want their hands below the lyrics. We want their hands above the lyrics. So even though your shot might look good and perfectly balanced, if you had the lyrics overlaying your shot, you would see why it's not balanced. So just adjust for what your director asks. There's also, during a lot of the other parts of the service, like announcements and things covering the whole, a bigger part of the lower third, and that's often why we need to adjust our shots. So just trust your broadcast director on that. Thank you. So, yeah. All right, let's talk about our shot sizes. So let's start with head to toe. So head to toe is framing up a shot where you see them from the head to the toe with enough headroom. So these are mostly directions you're going to get from your broadcast director. They might ask for a head to toe shot of the lead singer or a head to toe of the electric guitarist. Next, they might ask for knees up. So basically, you're going to put their knees on the bottom of the shot and get good headroom at the top, and that's a knees up shot. So next is waist up shot. So same thing there. You're going to start from their waist and go further up. And then the other things you might hear is elbows. So that's coming up to their elbows. And then shoulder is like a real close-up. So yeah, basic rule is whatever word comes before up, that's going to be at the bottom end of your frame, and then you're just going to make sure you have enough headroom above it. So head to toe, knees up, waist up, elbows up, shoulder up. That's it. So we're going to talk about shot adjustments. There will be kind of one category for adjustments that you would make when you're calibrating your camera with the broadcast director, or maybe they're getting ready to go to your shot when it's live, but they're helping you finesse and adjust the shot before they take it live. So that's one category. And then the other category is basically like live adjustments. So movements and dynamic shots. So adjustments that are happening during that sort of thing. So let's start with category one. These are adjustments you'd make before your shot is live. So the first thing you might hear is your director asks for a tighter or wider shot. This is basically zoom in or zoom out. So a tighter shot is much closer. Wider shot is, very wide. The next adjustment you might hear is expose up and down. And that's basically your ISO setting here. So you're going to do whatever you can to expose up means your director wants a brighter shot. Expose down means your shot is too bright and they need it darker. So that's expose up and down. Next is the tilt up and down. So we talked about these earlier. This is the adjustment on the side of your camera to loosen or tighten your tilt adjustment. So if you try to go up and down and it's all the way tight, you won't be able to. So you just want to loosen that enough. And tilting is going up and down. So if your director says tilt up, what they want is for your shot to go up, which means you push your hand on the handle down. If they want your shot to tilt down, they want the shot to go down, which means lifting your hand up. So, and then lastly, very similar, is pan. So pan is left and right. Again, there's a knob to tighten that adjustment. Pan left means move your shot left, which means moving your hand to the right. Pan right means moving your shot to the right and moving your hand to the left. So tilting is also related to headroom. So again, if they're asking you for more headroom, that means they need you to tilt up. If they ask you for less headroom, that means they need you to tilt down. And then you also might hear instead of pan left or right, sometimes in the moment that language can be confusing. So your director will say something like, put him on the left. So that means pan to the right, or put him on the right, which means pan to the left. It's just a little easier to understand. So that relates to pan and tilt.